Welcome back, Jazz. We're at episode number 11, Digital Supply Chain Management. How are you today?
Good. Time flies. It's already episode 11.
How long was it when we started? We started about 2.5 months ago. About I think first episode we recorded late January, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And today is interesting day. April 1st, the day we are recording this. So, April Fool's Day.
It's not a joke, I promise you.
We are into our new fiscal year and new initiatives, and plus U.S. government's tariff is activating starting tomorrow. So, and that's going to be part of our conversation as well at some point on the supply chain because of import-export tariffs changes happening. And otherwise also that you have been traveling over last couple of months to conferences and that we have been learning trends changing and how industry's focus is shifting lately with AI and a lot of other new things.
Yeah.
So, yeah, very interesting this year so far. All right, so let's dive in. And towards the environmental impact, the question for today is how does digitizing the supply chain reduce carbon emissions? This is very conflicting topic actually because transportation drives the economy, not just US, but the whole planet. Digitization, especially on the e-commerce side, like we buy things with few clicks and a couple days later, the thing is delivered on our doorstep. We don't know from what corner of the planet it's coming from, how many flights, ships, trucks, vans it has changed within like a day or two to travel all the way to our doorstep. The supply chain management has evolved a big time over last few years. And just for US only, we're talking about like $2.3 trillion industry just in America. I mean, it has 37% of all US jobs into logistics and 10% of GDP of country. This is not something that we are trying to address. Even a little bit of variation impacts huge on revenue, on inflation, on even environment, right? So data says like within US for all vehicles, among all vehicles, 5% are just like commercial trucks. Okay, 5% trucks, 5% vehicles across all in US generates 25% of all emission. So this minority of the vehicles is generating like about 1/4 of emission, even more than that, according to the data. So even like with this aspect, little bit of improvement, imagine like how much it can influence the green sustainability of the planet. So I think that's the right on the spot improvement area. So, but again, like this digital transformation have helped a lot, but there are still things are evolving because it's very complex. It's not just one way of the business. Like it is too complicated. I have done some research on the logistics business also lately over last couple of years. It's in my personal interest as well because of the technology side of the business. Plus, like this is a huge industry, and how we can get better at it towards environment. Some smart route optimization systems can generate, can look at tons of data on the weather conditions, on traffic conditions, on the alternate routes in real-time databases. Like sometimes there are constructions going on the road, and all that can definitely help save time to move those trucks through the roads and get things faster on the destination locations. Other than that, like there is uh, another shift is happening about the electric vehicles, especially on the Tesla Semi and those beautiful tiny compact trucks by Nikola. Um, they are changing the pattern as well on the green evolution, I would say. And within California, there have been some regulations also passed to motivate fleets to buy EV trucks more and more moving forward. Some benefits and and there are some restrictions also being applied on the diesel trucks. So, and that is going to help as well. And um, imagine like all that trucks that are moving, where are they going? Like there is huge load moving, and they go to the warehouses, and automation and autonomous systems in those warehouses can sort inventory, can use the space within the warehouses efficiently, and can move things faster, and they can work all around faster and more accurately than human can ever do the job. So that is definitely helping, and uh, and that helps on the environment aspect a lot. On the other side, overproduction has been a problem on the manufacturing industry, and that also influences supply chain a lot because of overproduction, extra trucks have to move on roads. More space is required in warehouses, and imagine what happens like if those items are not sold on time. They has to go to trash, and again, like trucks are moving that extra stuff to the trash, to recycle zones or wherever, right, to dump all that. So this is very unnecessary and unfortunate um, to have overproduction, and that's a global problem already being covered. We talked about a documentary by now, and that talks about overproduction a lot. So that has to be addressed to help the environment side, and yeah, so systems digital systems can help forecasting demand and optimize the inventory management system to avoid the overproduction. And in the transportation industry, repairs and maintenance is very expensive as well. So uh, digital sensors on various high maintenance items can help. So timely service, um, proactive repairs, and regular maintenance using those sensors can help like prevent any problem before it happens. So uh, with digital transformation, I think supply chain is getting a lot of advantage, and still it's big industry. There is still a lot we can do, and it's very interesting to see like how this is going to evolve over the next 5 to 10 years because of electronic trucks are in the boom, and they are in demand, and AI is also picking up huge and very fast. So it's very interesting to see like uh, and there are like driverless trucks are also being tested, and I think Amazon or who, like there was some Walmart, I guess, they have tested actually a driverless truck delivery also through the main roads, and it worked out. So yeah, I'll be very like curious to see all those trucks moving on road without any driver in it. Like let's see. I'll keep my fingers crossed, but I'm hopeful. It is very interesting. Yeah, what is your take?
I guess the whole driverless thing can be, it's still yet to be fully tested and trusted, I guess. Um, because I think sometimes it's like they will get caught in a situation where they are stuck. No matter how, they will end up hurting a human, and if they're not they're not programmed for that, then that's where I think they kind of get stuck and probably potentially will malfunction, which will be interesting.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So I think overall, I do agree that there's a lot that can be done in terms of digitalization and going green, embracing green innovation. Although we are also talking about green energy and renewable energy sources. And then we start going into nuclear energy, right? And some, I mean, that is a little bit debatable to some people, because when you talk about nuclear energy, doesn't mean that there's no toxic disposal to be concerned about, right? So it's a bit of a chicken and egg situation. So it's a matter of how do we find the right balance in a very sustainable manner without killing the earth, and then maybe killing ourselves in the process. Maybe 100 years down the road, we kill ourselves in a different way, maybe. But that's it. Yeah, slow death, but inevitable, maybe. But surely there should be, with digitalization and the technologies moving at such a fast speed, there should be more advanced and eco-friendly technologies that we can talk about, hopefully in the next decade. That maybe is not even nuclear. I don't know, just putting it out there. But of course, taking a step back, you're right. I mean, there is a lot that can be done in the whole supply chain, the whole transportation, logistic management. For example, just being smarter about predicting truckloads capacity so that we don't waste the trucks going half empty down on the road, or even shipping containers being half empty. You can use digital tools like big data, IoT. You can plan your routes more efficiently. You can plan the loads more efficiently, and then you can minimize the fuel consumption that way. Of course, and you can track the kind of inventory that you need. Then you reduce overproduction, you reduce unnecessary waste as part of that process. But I do notice that when we talk about digitalization of certain processes, even sustainable farming and farming practices, sometimes you're faced with this dilemma of areas where the labor is potentially cheaper than the automation. Then that's where we fall back into this whole commercial aspect, because it's more expensive to automate and get the automation than to get the labor. So then companies will just start falling back into the whole, okay, we'll just deal with the cheap labor. It doesn't matter whether they're doing it correctly, whether the methods are sustainable, are good for us in the long run, but at least cost-wise, it's what we can afford. And they see an additional benefit of maybe we are providing jobs. So it's a bit tough for such situations.
It's debatable.
It is debatable. Yeah. It is debatable. But it's also
the initial investment, the initial investment of digitization can be high.
Yeah.
But on a prolonged basis and repeatable tasks can bring more accuracy and speed on the process than like human resources to apply. Even if it is cheaper, but still like productivity will be different.
Yeah. And maybe just enabling those very sane humans to do it a bit more efficiently as well, so that they can advance in terms of their skills, right? Because I'm pretty sure they if given a choice, they would want to be able to command a higher pay, but they can only do that if they are skilled labor. And without that kind of education or support, they won't be able to advance in terms of their pay scale as well. So then they will still be reduced to just doing very manual and even dangerous jobs, right? Yeah, that could have been handled by the robots. Yeah, so that's kind of what I think.
Yeah, that is interesting. Yeah, you brought up very interesting point. Like with that cheap human resource option, yeah, on the warehouses and all those. Like, yeah, in China also, like I have seen videos like how efficient people are. Like they
They literally like a robot, like just do it with their eyes
they're so
shut.
fast, so accurate. Like one, like they look at the phone and with the other hand, like they're doing their work so so accurately. It's funny, but yeah, but this is a quality, I would say. It's a talent.
Multitasking to a different level.
Yeah, real world multitasking.
Yeah.
Okay. So, okay, let's move on to our next topic, financial implications. What are the cost benefits of a digital supply chain? Uh, yes, so one of the key factor or a key cost effective area is fuel. That's the most demanding bloodstream for moving transportation, and and the prices of fuel changes every now and then, and that happens at a global level. So as we talked about routes optimization, that is definitely helpful to avoid any unnecessary expense, plus saving time by going through the most optimum route to the destination. So uh, so lower fuel cost is definitely is helpful. Okay, and a challenge that I have seen because of the longer routes, or if trucks stuck on the way, the delayed deliveries, I'm talking at scale right now, not the little item purchased on the e-commerce site for home. No, it is about like moving container or the full truckload. So if those deliveries get delayed, there are penalties. Those penalties are huge. So having digital technology into the system, helping fleets on the routes, on timely dispatching, on real-time tracking, and on the data sharing between different stakeholders on that load that's moving, will help reduce extra expense on those penalties because of visibility, because of accuracy and timely deliveries. And another aspect of digital supply chain is to reduce administrative costs and to reduce compliance expenditures. It This is very strict industry, and regulations, laws, even enforcement is very strict uh, because of like different kind of loads have different regulations. Some load are, I mean, for example, uh, liquid loads have different protocols. Hazard material have a very different kind of rules. Dry, fresh, produce. So all these things, and all those fleets that can move such kind of loads have to be very highly compliant, or there are again like penalties. So having digital systems in place can simplify all those compliance things like licenses and certifications. Whenever they're going to expire, there people tend to forget in the regular job or being busy on the stuff. So system can help notify them before even those licenses or permits get expired, so that they stay compliant. So again, like reducing administrative cost and having compliance up to the mark is very useful. And like digitization is one-time investment, and then there is only maintenance and updates. But rest of the time in future, businesses get advantage of that digitization. So there's a huge breakthrough using digital systems on reducing cost. And data sharing between partners, as I just mentioned about having a real-time visibility of those loads to different stakeholders. In this case, having that kind of visibility between partners, suppliers, and your warehouse managers, if they all can look at your inventory, your demand forecasting data, and like where the loads are, so they can manage the delivery system efficiently together. They can replenish their inventory on time and avoid even overstocking of inventory as well. And this build trust also across different partners within the business. So ultimately, having that visibility all across, of course, it comes with data privacy within the authorized access, but it helps in staying compliant. It help build trust, and
Yeah.
it help move supply chain much faster and highly cost efficiently.
Mm.
How about you?
Yeah. Yeah, I can see you're very you're so passionate about this whole, especially towards the end.
Honestly, I have been studying logistics for about a couple of years.
Yeah.
Um I mean, I just got passion to
Mm,
learn.
mm,
I love marketing. I love
mm,
digital stuff,
mm,
but logistics somehow got my attention,
mm,
and
mm,
I started learning about it.
mm,
So yeah, I mean, just for my passion, I would say I want to learn more about it.
mm. Yeah, it is actually a very complex
Yeah.
process. There are so many layers involved. There's so
Hmm.
much potential for it to be digitalized, but yet it's always kind of like underrated in a way, right? Maybe because you don't get to see the shiny, the glamorous side of it. you know,
Yeah.
People see the shop front, but they don't see what happens underneath and all the effort
Hmm.
that goes in. So, I mean, I did a bit of research as well. I do know that with the whole digitalization, we can reduce the supply chain costs, by as much as 50%, and even your procurement costs as well in terms of getting the tools, and helping you with supply negotiation, the onboarding, the negotiation to the procurement processes. All these can be digitalized. There's so much manual paperwork right now happening in these areas. All the different players, all the different parties involved. Maybe because these are always the roles that have always been very administrative, very operational. They haven't been kind of brought up to speed or up to scale in terms of digitalization. Like when people talk about digital, they always look at the tech part, the tech people, but then they don't look at the end users and the operational
Good
people,
point.
the admin people. They end up having to still continue with the paperwork. They don't know whether they don't get enough attention. Being the end user to digitalize. Also, because a lot of this might not be very skilled work, in the perception of the CEO or the C-level people when they should be. And there is potential to actually automate and support them in terms of getting upskilling them to make use of the right technology. And then that will, of course, when you look at cost reduction, you will also look at revenue growth on the other end of the spectrum. You're right in saying that the initial digital investment will cost, but then from a longer term perspective, you will even out and your revenue will increase because you will be faster, you'll be more efficient, and you can also even start looking at personalization for your customer, for your suppliers, and that will of course lead to revenue increase with as well data back kind of decision making rather than just looking at pure numbers that you're collecting off the sheet of a paper, but you're looking at the data coming from your supply chain, from your onboarding process, from your inventory management. I think all this added together will help. Yeah. And then, of course, the other part I think is the reducing risk, right? With real time monitoring, with predictive intelligence and analytics, you are also reducing your own risk when it comes to any potential disruption, any sort of fraud happening in the whole supply chain, and then also using blockchain in the right way to support transparency and also to protect each party, and which will then also minimize your financial losses due to errors or due to fraud or disputes or whatsoever. So I think it's really finding ways, at the beginning, especially for the small business owners involved in this supply chain, to see if there is some sort of funding or subsidies that they can get from the government, from any association. Or at least in my side of the world, the Singapore government is extremely supportive of supporting all our SMEs in digitalization. So it's just a matter of helping them to get access to these funding, so that they can leverage it the right way. Yeah. So
yeah. No, good point. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so let's move on our conversation towards operational efficiency. So in what ways does a digital supply chain enhance logistics and inventory management? So operational efficiency, again, we touched on that on different topics about avoid manual processes, do as much automation as possible, and especially on the logistics side, fleet management, like having drivers and trucks and loads. Like there are three different dimensions, and it's like a tech stack. Like you have different services, and you want to combine them all to solve one purpose for a use case and orchestrate them very efficiently to maximize the ROI. It's a similar situation, and like automated fleet monitoring systems with good technology to track them efficiently is very necessary here. And there are tools available already, but training people to use those tools is also needed. Like tools cannot help just as it is. And I used to say about tools like a fool with a tool is still the fool. So it's very highly important that like having all these tools in place is good. Plus training staff is another thing on top of that, which is highly necessary to have like robust processes in place. So data. Now it's again like data doesn't speak itself. So how we interpret data is that is a game changer. Like how we understand and interpret the data with AI, where like interpretation is much easier, and we can train models to give us data much faster and very efficiently to help making our decisions faster and accurate. And as I mentioned above, like having an integrated system in place to bring visibility across different stakeholders, because supply chain is not a siloed work culture. It is a very long chain of very like highly variety of layers to complete one delivery. Okay, so having systems that talk to each other on different stakeholders side can help run this operation very efficiently. So, and I'm not saying it's not happening. It is there already. Otherwise, like we won't be able to get our order delivered to our door within a day or two. It is already working very efficiently, but there are missing deliveries. There are delays in deliveries, and there are like broken packages also getting delivered. So it means there's still a margin of improvement there is. Okay. And I have seen news like even trucks have been disappeared in the way. So it's funny to see like there are very different kind of issues happening, and those are like glitches in the operations. But digitization and sensor based tracking, like GPS tracking of your fleet, can also help reduce such kind of issues. Okay. And like data-driven predictive analysis, routes optimization, and fleet management system like drivers and trucks alignment or all those things, like it is going to help. And that is very useful technology to run fleets efficiently. Another thing is like different loads on different routes, and sometimes different loads within the same routes, and sometimes like shared loads going on to the different routes, that very complex combinations. And manually, if we try to do that, traditionally it has been working, and there was static processes um, that's been working, but it was much slower and issues and highly costly. So now with digitization, things like those complex transportations um, have helped. So like for example, if a load is like a full truck, or it is a partial load, or within, like there are multiple containers going to the same warehouse, or there is like one shipment of different containers to send to different warehouses. Technology have simplified it and helped run all these operations very efficiently. So um, at this point, the next step should be to blend it with AI and automate as much as possible. And futuristic, that I'm also curious to see about like autonomous vehicles. So let's see how they come up with to even improve it to the next level. But at this point, automate and training staff is the key. Training staff can never be like delivered out of the box. So every fleet and every company has to take responsibility and accountability to train their staff, including the supply chain industry. So that's where companies should pay attention to as well.
Yeah, I think you brought up a very good point about people enablement, right? There's always like when we talk about that cheap labor versus the unskilled labor, and why companies are still just displacing them or just going for the cheap labor versus investing in technology. But the truly successful and long-term, like companies with long-term vision, they do focus a lot on training and enablement instead of just displacement of talent. I mean, we're still seeing it right now. So absolutely, I agree with you that the digital tool itself, it is a tool, right? It's not meant to replace the people. It will replace the job roles. It will change job roles, but it's not meant to take away the people from that equation. So it's really is very important to have that clear understanding and differentiation so that they can plan in advance and enhance the roles with the right training and enablement from the get-go to precisely not have them put in this position where they would inevitably need to be replaced by somebody else more skilled. Yeah, so it is a prevention rather than cure, I would say, when it comes to operational efficiency. Of course, beyond that is that we do provide a lot more visibility and transparency when you apply digital as well as data into the equation, because you can see real-time tracking, there's real-time visibility across what's happening on your supply chain. You can track all the goods, you can monitor the inventory levels, you know what are causing you the bottlenecks ahead of time, and then you can then preemptively already just try to find a way to address those bottlenecks. And you can't do that if it's all manual, because then you end up seeing different things from different perspectives. You don't have a single source of truth. You don't have a holistic view. And that's where the automation comes in, right? It minimizes errors. It can help you to streamline your workflow, inventory management, order processing, and then your employees are then better able to do higher level jobs and apply critical thinking into their work, their daily work. Learn how to use the data, learn how to use the tools, support them to be more efficient, help them with more data-backed decision making that can provide actionable insights, and you can't do that if you don't have data or real-time data for that kind of forecasting and business intelligence. And you can't do that if you're still working off a piece of paper or Excel and everybody's just tracking and updating it like manually after what has happened. You can't do that without the real-time thing. So
Yes.
there is undeniable truth that you will improve your operations if you apply tech, digital, and data in a correct way, working with your people. Yeah.
Yes. That combination has to go well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And and that becomes company's responsibility to delegate some roles to train people efficiently on technology, on processes automation, and on the general skills as well.
For sure.
Sounds good. Let's move on to our next topic, customer experience. How does an efficient supply chain improve product availability and delivery times? By far, we all have witnessed an efficient delivery system as customers over the last few years. We order things on our phone with few clicks, and that item is delivered on our doorstep in a couple of days. That's very efficient. That's very accurate. But how does it happen in the back end is always inspires me. It's raining, cloudy, sunny, storming, fire, heat, whatever it is. Right, our orders are always get delivered fast. So one thing I like about through all this is like it only takes like a couple of days, but I get visibility as a customer of my order, like where exactly it is, and like when it's going to be delivered on time or it is getting delayed or something. I mean, sometimes I don't mind things getting delayed. I mean, things happen, but as long as I'm aware of it, I should be okay with that. So, and technology have made it possible, rather than wondering it was supposed to deliver yesterday. Now, still, I don't know where it is, and I have to call customer support line, and that's annoying. But right now, I receive real time alerts. I receive emails, and sometimes like beyond even that, like I get support, which is very interesting. But to the back end, as you mentioned, like we usually don't visualize like how all that is happening. So um, inventory visibility across all channels in real time is one of the key pillar here. That like if and now you can imagine like if your order is getting delayed, you can blame it on something like this, that systems may not be talking to each other, so or different stakeholders are not aware of where the inventory is, which warehouse should ship that order. So that is highly necessary here. Real-time inventory visibility across all channels to all involved stakeholders and different parties who are responsible to move that one order or the big truck through one warehouse to the other. So, and automating warehouses on top of that is like even icing on a cake. Like we place an order, and warehouses can automatically process that order through the system, send a robot to the stack, pick an item, package it, and send it to the truck, load it off, and get it sent. And that is already happening. I mean, it was dream like 10 years ago, but today, all of that, some companies have really achieved that level of maturity on the automation side to process orders this fast. Uh, and like as I mentioned, dynamic ETA updates and the alerts that we get as a customer on our order, and that is like one order. But again, even like big ships or trucks or containers, those customers will also have very efficient system in place. And this is a huge deal that that's helping uh, to bring smile on a customer's face. I really admire like how customer experience is being prioritized at every level of the business, not just one industry. Like customer experience has been prioritized lately. Uh, Previously, it was mostly result oriented targets that most companies have, but over last few years, all companies start with customers, like the outcome based productivity. Like if and some leaders I have talked to lately, uh, we have had good conversations about like, okay, if your metrics on your QBRs are positive and growing, but your customers are churning, what does that mean? Even if your revenue is increasing, but your number of customers are reducing, what does that mean? Like a couple of customers may be bullying on your purchase, right? But there are other customers are not happy, and those are more in numbers. Then outcome is negative really in that case. But uh, what I mean to say here is most of businesses, I would say, that I'm aware of to the leadership level are actually focusing on the customer experience. So does supply chain is also prioritizing it, that I have seen in some reports. So uh, another aspect of delivery is like the KPI usually they measure as well, like uh, first attempt delivery. Uh, and why does it not happen on a first attempt at sometimes, like because of weather, because of traffic, because of shift timing, or because of vehicle maintenance issues? Okay, and technology, as we talked on the route optimization few times today, like the technology have made it possible to give the best efficient route to the driver based on the real-time data on weather, on road conditions, on construction zones, on the shift timing, and like even like preference of the recipient. So with all that, system can give a best route to deliver that, so that like first attempt delivery is successful. So it's very interesting. And overall, when customer satisfaction increases, customer retention goes high as well. So does ROI goes up. So that's the by product of the customer satisfaction that we get. So yeah, I mean, technology and customer experience, it's a good combination. Customer experience is definitely going high with the help of digitization and supply chain. Because when we place order, we are curious to receive it as soon as possible, right? Even like a few hours delay affects us as customers, but it always makes us happy. So technology have really helped a lot in this case.
For sure. I mean, otherwise you need to In the old days, you need to make a call or you need to write write an email or even write a letter. That will take
or
days
go to the
to
warehouse
read.
by yourself.
Like what's going on.
To pick up yourself.
And nobody knows. Like even the sender themselves don't even know what's going on, and then have to get the person
It have happened,
to go and check it out. Because ultimately, what customers want is the companies to fulfill their end of the bargain, basically, right? Like I paid for something, I want it. You said that you'll be delivered around this time, then it better be delivered around this time. And if something changes, I need to know, right? Especially if it's a time-sensitive thing, time-sensitive item. Because it doesn't mean that we hand everything and automate the entire process and then not have any human intervention needed at all. That there has to be some flexibility where from time to time it might be faster for a human to intervene and say, hey, like take for example, I order like groceries or I order something from this app, and usually they will give an estimate time, and I can even choose right when I want this to be delivered based on my schedule. So then they will arrange with delivery partners to do that. And from the seller perspective, they feel like maybe their duty is done once they have that arranged with the delivery partner, and it's up to the delivery partner to continue that the due diligence to deliver the goods. And then with the data and the tracking at the back end, the delivery partner can schedule according to what works for their drivers and their inventory and their load at that time on that day, based on the deliveries that they are supposed to make to the different addresses. And they can optimize that using a combination of data as well as digital flow to allocate the best driver that can fit this route for the customer. And then from the customer's perspective, all I want to know is, let's say if there is a delay, if the seller cannot update me in real time on the app for whatever reason, be it through an automated push note, or even just a message in app, then there will be a time where, for example, it's supposed to arrive at this time, 2 to 4 p.m. But then the delivery driver might suddenly go a little off route because there's some sort of hiccup, which then it should be visible to everybody on that route. But then for the customer, maybe the customer cannot see it in time, but then the driver should be able to contact the customer directly and say, hey, I actually would be able to deliver earlier if you can. Like, would that be possible? So I think I do get messages like that. And then if I am available, actually, I'm okay. I say, okay, sure, why not? Like, you can come now earlier. It's earlier than what I've scheduled, but it's fine. But then, of course, if I say that it's not, then, of course, the driver will have to find a way to sort that out at their end. And that's where they would definitely appreciate having access to a system for them to connect with other drivers who can maybe fulfill or replace them very quickly. So that's where the technology will help the drivers as well, so that they don't have to start calling, other drivers on the fly or something. Yeah. So it's really the whole experience is also for the drivers, the suppliers, and also for the end buyers. That's how I see the entire experience is important. And absolutely digital and data can help with that.
Yeah. Real-time visibility and routes optimization. Yeah. So very interesting. Sure. Yeah. And I'm eager to start watching news tomorrow onwards about tariffs.
Oh yeah.
It's going to affect starting tomorrow. And especially in the US, we're gonna see 25% extra cost for imported cars, and that's going to not just impact the cost matter on the automotive industry, but also the customer experience, because there are a lot of buyers interested in Japanese cars, Korean, Asian cars, and European cars.
Yeah.
So yeah, and yeah, let's see how it turns out. And I have, yeah, and I'm seeing news like even countries like Canada, England, India, they are going strict against this US tariff policy as well. So there is some rage going on. So competitive situation happening. So yeah, let's see how it turns out over next few months, how it settles down. But it is going to add complexity in the global trade for sure. So US is a very, I mean, like kind of a biggest buyer from all those countries. So let's see. Fingers crossed.
Interesting times. Is it
very interesting?
Yeah. It might be some people see it as a band-aid situation.
Yeah.
But
yeah, we'll know tomorrow.
It's a slow burn.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Jess, for your time today. A very interesting conversation and very excited conversation too. I mean, I'm glad we touched on the supply chain as well.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nav.